Welcome everyone to another audio recording in the IsetTheMic series, and this one is entitled Sapphic, Sapphic, Spectrum, Spectrum. Can you all relate to the following terminology? Please note that these terms, labels, are not to confine an individual. In society, words can connect us to the unspoken, the unseen, and also not suffice to describe the essence of a person. Language and its meanings can vary based on cultural and personal contexts, etc. So, for the word Sapphic, which means woman XX people attracted to, relationships, connections, intimacy, love, marriage, sex with women, XX people. XX people are the XX chromosomes typically seen in females. The next word is intersex, which is a general term used for a variety of situations in which a person is born with reproductive or sexual anatomy that doesn't fit the boxes of female or male. Sometimes doctors do surgeries on intersex babies and children to make their bodies fit the binary ideas of male or female. The next word is spectrum. At one end of the sexual orientation spectrum, a person may only be attracted to women, and at the other end, a person may only be attracted to men. In the middle of the spectrum are those who feel a range of sexual and romantic attraction toward different genders and sexes. When it comes to lesbians, we are the only ones in the Sapphic spectrum that are women, XX people attracted to relationships, connections, intimacy, love, dating, marriage, sex between women, XX people only. There are non-binary XX people, those who do not identify with the traditional binary sex of female, who also identify as lesbians. It is important to note that lesbians, again, are the only ones in the Sapphic spectrum that only are interested in being in connection with other women, XX people. They have no interest in being with males, XY people in any facet. The next word is gynosexual, or gynosexual, which is referring only to the sexual attraction toward women, females, and perceived femininity, irrespective of whether they were assigned female at birth or also known as AFAB XX people. The word stud is a Black Afro-Indigenous lesbian who embraces identity markers such as clothing, hairstyle, interests, or behaviors that are associated with an external, atypical, and possibly non-conforming masculinity, whether physical, style, or mannerisms, and etc. A STEM, which is spelled STEMME, is a word derived from the words stud, STUD, and femme, FEMME, used to describe a lesbian who embraces masculine and feminine, atypically and possibly non-conforming, whether physical, style, mannerisms, etc., also known as soft butch, sometimes androgynous. The next word is femme, a lesbian who expresses themselves atypically and possibly non-conforming feminine. Also can be a sapphic. There can be high femme, low femme, hard AG femme. AG is known in New York City lesbian community as butch and may identify herself as an AG, aggressive, or as a stud, a soft stud. Tomboy, spelled TOMBOI, is not a lesbian term. However, this term is used for girls or young women, XX non-binary person with masculine traits. It can include wearing androgynous or unfeminine clothing and engaging in physical sports or other activities. Behaviors usually associated with boys or men, XY, NB non-binary people. BOI describes someone who embodies a more non-conforming expression of masculinity that is not necessarily tied to traditional gender norms. Two-spirit is a person who identifies as having both a masculine and a feminine spirit and is used by some indigenous people to describe their sexual, gender, or spiritual identity. Butch, Eurocentric, Caucasian person whose gender expression and traits present atypically and possibly non-conforming masculine, challenging traditional binary male and female gender roles and expressions. Bulldagger is offensive and pejorative slang for a very masculine lesbian, which often carries a more racialized meaning than its synonyms, bulldyke, bulldyker, and dieseldyke. MOC, masculine of center people, describes a woman, female, NB non-binary XX person who expresses in an internal, atypical, and possibly non-conforming masculine way, whether emotionally, mentally, etc. Masculine presenting describes a woman, female, NB, non-binary XX person who expresses gender in an external, atypical, and possibly non-conforming masculine way, whether physical, style, mannerisms, etc. Bisexual is a person sexually or romantically attracted to both women and men or to more than one sex or gender. A pansexual is someone who expresses attraction to people of any gender, whether non-binary, regardless of their sexuality. Queer is denoting or relating to a sexual or gender identity that does not correspond to established ideas of sexuality and gender, especially heterosexual normatives. A sappho-romantic is inclusive in the umbrella term for only romantic attraction between queer women, whether they identify as lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, non-binary. To be clear, romantic is conducive to or characterized by the expression of love. WLW stands for woman-loving woman, woman-aligned, woman-related, and or individuals who are feminine-aligned. A womance is a close but non-sexual, non-romantic relationship between two or more women. It is an exceptionally tight, affectional, social, XX female bonding relationship exceeding that of usual friendship, and is distinguished by a particularly high level of emotional intimacy. Femisocial, relating to social interaction between XX people, females, girls, and women only. Late blooming Sapphic is a woman, XX person that has embraced themselves in the spectrum and lives their life fully expressed as a same-sex loving person. This is an important distinction because their experience is divergent from those that have always known and expressed themselves as such. Come out as you are is a way of being for same-sex loving women, XX people, to find their voice and self-actualize how they are most comfortable in their sexual identity. Because of the violent phobic dangers we can face, it is my opinion that none of us has to disclose anything about ourselves. We choose if, when, and with whom we share ourselves with. Next is unlabeled or no labels. This was originally used specifically by lesbians who did not want to label themselves with terms such as femme or butch. Its use has been expanded to be used for sexuality in general and in more recent usage. These terms are to be distinguished from the Caucasian, Eurocentric, lesbian, feminist terminology, as some of these terms have roots in African American communities of the early 20th century, especially with 1920s Harlem, where sexuality and gender were more flexible, which helps to enrich what has been a whitewashed lesbian history, beginning with the figure of Sappho, Sappho, Sapphic, circa 625, 570 BC. FYI, this post is a compilation from many Google searches that have been edited to reflect the current cultural spectrum, while sharing knowledge on the misrepresentation of Sapphic Noir people, Black lesbians. For those of you listening to this audio recording, wherever you may be listening to it to, you may be surprised. You may be wondering, why am I talking about all of this? I will share about that in another audio recording, which will be called Come Out As You Are. Please note that I have done my best to also upload in written format in different platforms everything that I have just read, and attached it to a poster I created with the different words within the Sapphic spectrum. So, as always, I intend you all, in your neurodistinction, you sentient ones, have a luminous odyssey. Embrace your nature. It has the roots to restore you. I am Iset, and IsetTheMic.